So in today's video, we're going to do a versus. We've got England versus Germany, sort of. Worcester Bosch are half owned by a German company, but it's as good as we could get. And we're going to compare the best premium product that you can buy on Heatable and which one should you buy. Just before we head into this video, if you are in the market for a new boiler, then head over to heatable.co.uk where you'll be able to get a fixed price and have it installed in as little as 24 hours. So what are the two best boilers that you can buy on Heatable? Well, you've got two choices. You've got the brand new Viessmann 100 combi boiler, and you've also got the Worcester Bosch 8000 style boiler. So they're two premium products. We're going to find out which one is best. Okay, so let's start with the Viessmann 100. So this is a groundbreaking product that was released around 8 weeks ago in March 2021. The other groundbreaking piece of technology is the hydrogen-ready element of the boiler. Out the box, this boiler can accept an 80% mix of natural gas and 20% mix of hydrogen. Obviously, big push in the UK at the moment to move towards more cleaner fuels. This boiler is leading the way with that. At the moment, it's a 20% mix of hydrogen, although Viessmann have told us that this boiler can go a lot further with some small component changes. Now we've got the Worcester product, and in this case it's the 8000 series and it's the style model. So this boiler was released about 18 months, 2 years ago, but it is Worcester's premium product. It's a very, very robust boiler. It does very, very well in the UK market, and it's got a really wide range of power options available, so it's quite flexible and will meet pretty much any requirement that a customer has. The overall design of the boiler has moved on from Worcester's previous models. They've moved to the curved case with the central control unit, and we really, really like the 8000. But what we're going to do now is compare some of the facts like for like, such as efficiencies, water flow rates and kilowatt outputs between these two products. So aesthetically, there's quite a bit of difference in the overall look of each of the products. Obviously, this is Worcester's premium range and it's the style boiler, therefore it has to be stylish. Viessmann, this is a brand new case and brand new look for Viessmann. It's sort of, some of the design language has been borrowed from the 200 series of boiler. Both of them have LCD touchscreen displays. The display on the style boiler is in colour. The Viessmann is in black and white, not that that makes a massive difference. The menu functions on both of the boilers are broadly similar. With premium products like this, they're very, very flexible in their menus. You can select how powerful you want the boiler to be. You can alter the temperature of the hot water and the heating separately. And there's also some advanced menus in there for installers. When they first install the product, they can adjust some additional parameters that you just don't get with budget or mid-range boilers. So in the style range of boilers, Worcester offers it in two colours, and that's just the front case only. So we've got the white one here, and it has sort of a grey, sort of carbonish effect finish on the case there. You can also get a black version of this boiler. The rest of the boiler is identical. It has a silver outer case. It's just the front panel that's interchangeable. So if you did decide at a later date that you wanted a different colour, you can just buy the front panels from Worcester and they clip on in about 15 seconds. Viessmann only offer the product in one colour and one colour only. However, the finish on this product has sort of a sparkly effect, which is quite nice. It's a matte finish. For me, even though this is a style product, that is a much better looking boiler. It just looks cutting edge and much more sort of today, really. Dimensions of the product, so these stay the same. It doesn't matter which model you get, like which different kilowatt outputs don't dictate the size of the case. However, the 100 boiler is always going to be a smaller unit than the 8000. The width and the depth are broadly similar. As you can see, the difference comes in the height. This boiler is around 40 millimeters taller than the 100 boiler, and therefore it does need a little bit more space if it's in a cupboard or if it's going to go somewhere where it's quite a tight space. So power outputs and options you've got available. Well, both boilers are available as combi boilers and also as system boilers, and in both the dimensions and look remain the same. If you go for a combi, In the Viessmann, you've got 3 choices. So you've got a 26, you've got a 30, and you've got a 35 kilowatt. They call them something slightly different now. I think it's something like a 24, a 28 and a 32. I don't know why that is. I think it's something to do with the heating. However, the models in terms of hot water performance are 26, 30 and 35. On the 8000 boiler, you've got a much greater range of options. So it starts at 30 kilowatt and it goes right up to 50 kilowatt in 5 kilowatt increments. So you should be able to find a unit that is suitable for you and you can match it to your cold water supply in your home. With a Viessmann, you can only go up to 35 kilowatt. However, 35 kilowatts is a lot of power and you would rarely need anything more. So in terms of their hot water performance, both products at the same power outputs are broadly similar. So you'll get about 10 litres of hot water out of the 26 kilowatt model. You'll get about 12.5 litres out of the 30 on both models of the Worcester and the Viessmann, and you get up to about 15 litres a minute on the 35 kilowatt options. Obviously, if you've got a higher demand or a better cold water flow rate than that, then you're going to cap out at a Viessmann at 35, you'll need to pick a higher output, 8000. In terms of the central heating output of the products for your radiators, you're never going to fall short with either of these products. Even the baseline models will do about 20 radiators each, so you should be absolutely fine with any model in that range. So what sort of guarantees and warranties do you get with each product? Well, first of all, they're called different things with different manufacturers. So Viessmann will offer you a warranty, and a warranty is essentially they will warrant the product for a period of time for all parts and all labour. Worcester offers something called a guarantee. The difference with a guarantee, according to Worcester, is that they will underwrite any issue on that boiler. For example, if the boiler had a fault and that fault was caused because it was maybe installed incorrectly, Worcester will still repair it for you, but they will give you an advice notice to get the original installation fault fixed. A warranty doesn't always cover you for that sort of circumstance. However, Viessmann are very good. We don't really get any issues with Viessmann rejecting warranty claims or anything like that. So the warranties and guarantees you get on Heatable are identical. So you'll get a 10-year parts and labour warranty on the Viessmann, and you'll also get a 10-year parts and labour guarantee on the Worcester. The packages offered on Heatable are also very, very similar with some slight subtle changes between the two. So on a Viessmann boiler or any combi boiler on Heatable, you get a free wireless programmable room thermostat, you get a chemical flush of your system, you get installation, you get gas safe registration and building control notice registration, and you also get a AD Pro 3 filter. This is a product that protects the boiler and prolongs the life of the unit. The only difference on a Worcester boiler is Worcester insist that you have to fit the Worcester Bosch Green Star filter with their boilers, so the package would be identical. However, with the Worcester, you would get Worcester's own version of their filter. So we've got the cases off the boilers now, so we can show you some of the internals and obviously the differences between the two. So the main thing that stands out between these two products is the heat exchanger. So the heat exchanger in the Viessmann is a fully stainless steel unit, and the heat exchanger in the Worcester is an aluminium alloy, sort of Worcester's patented design. The main differences between those two different styles of heat exchanger is stainless steel is a really, really high grade product, and it's very good with dealing with scaly water, and it also copes with thermal shock much better than something like aluminium. However, the heat exchanger in the Worcester Bosch has been around forever and it's very, very well developed, so they heat up nice and quickly. They don't really like water softeners, so if you do have a water softener at home and it hasn't got a bypass on it, meaning you can't divert the water around the boiler, they don't like water softeners and it will eventually eat the heat exchanger. You won't have that problem on a Viessmann. The next thing to look at is the fan. So both of the fans are broadly similar, not a huge difference between the two. Both of these boilers run at a really low operation noise and they shouldn't really hear them when they're on, even at full rate. Next thing is the expansion vessel. So the expansion vessel is the product that manages the pressure in the system. It is a much bigger unit in the Worcester than it is in the Viessmann. It's almost twice the size. So if you've got a very large central heating system, then something like this will manage the pressure much better. The biggest difference between the two products, apart from the heat exchanger, is the way they produce the air and gas mix. In a Worcester Bosch, it's very traditional. So you have a gas valve, which is essentially a regulator that lets gas in, it turns it up or turns it down, and the fan brings the air in. They mix together, and that's what gives you the combustion. In the Viessmann, because of the hydrogen element, it doesn't have a gas valve. It has something called Lambert Pro. Lambert Pro is technology borrowed from the 200 range topping premium product that they offer. And essentially what it does is it measures the calorific value of the gas coming in, or the hydrogen, and also the calorific value of the air. Obviously air has different densities depending whether it's warm or cold, and it makes constant adjustments for that burn. So it's a much more intelligent product in terms of finding efficiencies than something like the Worcester. However, the Worcester still as efficient out of the box. I think there's 1% between the two. It's just more of a traditional method of burning the gas. Okay, so which of these products would we recommend? Well, to be honest, you can't really go wrong with either of them, but you may choose different ones for different reasons. For example, if you live in a hard water area where you've got a lot of scale in the water system, it's always better to go for something like a Viessmann, as it has the stainless steel heat exchanger. If you've got a really high hot water demand and you want a boiler bigger than 35 kilowatts, then the Worcester is the obvious choice. Another consideration is the hydrogen element of the Viessmann boiler. Obviously it comes pre-mixed at 20% should you need it. If the government chooses to go down the hydrogen route in the UK, it's likely that we'll start with a mix of natural gas and hydrogen, and we'll then work our way to a full hydrogen fuel supply. This boiler is going to be suitable to accept that mix, and may even be suitable to go to 100% hydrogen also. So we hope this video has been useful in helping you decide which of the premium products you should choose on Heatable. If you are in the market for a new boiler, then head over to heatable.co.uk and we'll be able to give you a fixed price to have either of these boilers installed tomorrow by a gas safe and vetted engineer.